You cannot be on the side of the road. You must be on the path to mastering the ability to help somebody. And you cannot help somebody if you don't know how to help yourself and your family. And if you're making good money and you're neglecting your family, you're not helping your family. You're helping them financially, yes, but you're not helping them emotionally. You're not helping them in other ways that they require your help. Everybody requires that help. We are members of other people's family because of what we do for them. Some people regard us more than their family. Some people will regard you more than their family. Why? Because you are taking an emotional interest in them. And that is critical. So I want you to understand that if you don't learn and apply that knowledge, you're not really helping people. And the money will come. I promise you, the money will come. The money will come. And the money will come like datke, like solid. But you have to give your heart to people. Now, will people hurt you? Yes. Yes. Well, I don't like to get hurt. Hey, that's part of life. Part of life is getting hurt by other people whom you help. You say it's very difficult to help somebody when they're talking rubbish about you. Let me tell you about somebody in my business. Unfortunately, he died, but he was in my group. And this guy would come to my house because we used to have meetings in my house sometimes. So he would come to my house and he would be very nice. American guy, very smile. Yeah. And then behind my back, he'd say things. And how did I know? Because I have loyal IBOs. They tell me, you know what he said? You know what he said? I said, listen, don't worry about it. And what happened was that he did himself a disservice. He did not accept the help. He rejected the help and he talked funny. Actually, he insulted me with other people. But that was okay. I was cool. I was comfortable in my own behavior. He rejected me. But you know what happened? Because of how I treated him, even though I knew he was talking behind my back, all kinds of nonsense, the people who told me started to respect me differently. They said, wow, this guy, after knowing what that guy is saying, he still doesn't stop from helping him. Now that man got sick and he died a few years ago. That's unfortunate. But I know when I sleep at night, I helped him. Even though he was not an easy person to help. You have to do the same. You have to do the same. That's the biggest challenge in this business, is when you help somebody and they reject you and they talk funny, but they come to your meetings and they'll be nice to you, but it's all fake. It's not real. And you know who they are, and you still help them, and you're still nice to them, and you still address them well. That you have to do. You say, mere se nahi hoga, then you will not be able to succeed. You see, God is like that. You have to learn to be like that. It's very difficult. I have a hard time with that. But I have tried over the years, and I'm slowly getting better. You have to slowly get better. You don't have to get better like cut. It won't happen. Things take time. Sometimes you fall back. Sometimes I can get angry and say something to somebody. And then I apologize. But it doesn't matter. Some people don't accept your apology, which is fine. We're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. But my intentions are pure. I'm not pure, but my intentions are pure. And that is all that you need. You need pure intentions. Then if you make a mistake, it's fine. God will forgive you if they don't forgive you. If the person doesn't forgive you, God will forgive you. And that's all that really matters. If God forgives you, who cares who doesn't forgive you and who forgives you? If somebody forgives you and God doesn't forgive you, you got a problem. But if God forgives you and somebody doesn't forgive you, you don't have a problem. So I say this, is that learn from the system, read the books. This woman, who's a very successful woman, wants to be mentored by me. And you know what? She promoted my book that night. And that night I came twice to the boat and I took back, each time I came, I took back 6 books. So I sold 12 books that night, plus her, 13 books. And she sold 12 books. I did not. Because she made such a big noise after getting the book. And so I went to eat there. I had a good time there. Tiffany had a good time there. And we sold 13 books. That's crazy. And that's 13 books out of nowhere. I mean, they're not my following. They're not people that would have bought my book. And most of them did not even know I wrote a book. So this woman freely helped me, and she's asking me for help. How can I say no? You tell me. I have to help this woman. I must help this woman. For no financial profit, I will help her. That's God's work I'm doing. She needs my help. We're going to be good friends. And she loves Tiffany, and Gary loves me. And now I'm going to mentor her. We're going to be very close. So these are the things that make people function right. It'll make you function right. It'll help other people function right. And together we can change the world. And with that, I'm going to turn it over. It's close to 10 o'clock. I will turn it over because I feel that there is another session where the Platinums are going to discuss some things. So either Sharad or Mukund or Sanjay Doke or Swati or Hema or Rashmi take over. Or even Suvarna and Deepak Bhosle are on, I think. I don't know. Yes, I see you.
Leo, you are amazing.
People are still shy to put the video on. I think that they're not properly dressed. And I want to encourage you because of COVID and all that now. Let me encourage you. Let me make one point. My father died in 1995, 26 years ago. And my mother was in mourning, and I cannot even imagine how my mother felt because she was married to him since she was 19 years old. And it was very difficult for her. They were married for like 45 years. No, 55 years. Sorry. So to me, it was very difficult to understand what my mother was going through. So I used to go every morning to see her. Every morning she stayed with my sister. Just before my father died, she asked me, can we stay with Indy for a little while? And I said, absolutely, Mommy, you shouldn't even ask me. You should just say, I'm going to Indy's house, which is my sister. So she went to Indy's house with my dad. My dad died. So she was still staying in my sister's house. And I realized every day I would go and see her before I did anything. Before I did anything, I went to my sister's house and I spent about half an hour with my mother, having a cup of coffee, chatting, you know. And I realized my mother was not getting dressed. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and she was in a nightgown. Then I would come in the evening at about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, again to say hello and maybe have a cup of coffee and chat with my mother and my sister. And she would still be in the nightgown. So now it's a very touchy thing. I'm seeing my mother, who was always very well dressed. She was a general's wife, you know, she does not look like bad. My mother is not getting out of her nightgown all day. Why? Because her husband's dead. That's it. Life is over. So I said, now how do I tell her? Listen, you gotta bloody put on some makeup, put on your outfit and behave like, normal. How can you tell a widow who has lost her husband? How can you tell her that? You cannot be aggressive. So I told my sister, I said, hey, come here, I want to talk to you. This is my older sister. So she said, what is it? So I said, hey, you got to talk to mom. She said, what about? I said, you don't see it? She says, no. What's wrong? I said, she's not really getting dressed. She's in a nightgown all day. What kind of a stupid thing is that? So she says, I noticed that too. So I said, so why aren't you doing something? You're her daughter. She says, you're her son. What are you doing? I said, I'm talking to you. So we are arguing. She said, I'm not going to tell her anything. I said, what do you mean you're not going to tell her? You're her daughter, man. Talk to her. It's difficult coming from me because I'm like an aggressive guy. She'll get very upset. So he said, no, I'm not telling her. I'm not going to discuss this. You do it. Come on, Leah. So I sat down with my mother and I talked to her. And by the way, I said, Mom, I'm noticing that you're not getting ready these days. So she says, what do you mean? What do you mean not getting ready? So I said, at 4 in the evening, you're in a nightgown. At 8:30 in the morning, you're in a nightgown. At 10 o'clock, you're in a nightgown. I bet you're in the same nightgown and you change nightgowns because you do wear different nightgowns. Thank God you're not wearing the same bloody nightgown for 1 month. But you're not getting out of your nightgown. And you're a whole human being and you're so articulate and you're so fun and you're behaving like you died. Daddy died. You did not die. Please live with us. She started to cry. She said, I'm so sorry, son. I said, oh, don't apologize, please. I did not mean it that way. She said, no, I'm so sorry. I must live with the living. I said, oh, thank you. And she started to get dressed and wear makeup again. And, she was all happy and she changed her mind. And I had to do it. Her youngest child had to do it. Now I'm telling you, if you don't have your video on and you're not dressed or something, man, you got to get dressed. It's a mental thing. If you don't, but yaar, COVID mein kahin ja nahi raha. I don't care. I don't care, COVID or anything, war or peace. You have to get dressed. You have to put your video on. You have to behave like everything is okay. Even though my mother's husband died, my father died, I wanted her to behave like everything is okay. And she did. And I want you to not have your video off, because there's only one reason why you have your video off, and that is because you feel you're not dressed properly. And you know what? You don't have to wear a suit and a tie, men, and women. You don't have to wear like the sari with the zari and all that. You just relax, you know. But you can be presentable and put your video on, because if you came to a meeting, I'll see all of you, and you'll see me. This is a meeting. I want to see all of you, and you see me. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to you guys. I'm looking, more videos are on. That's good news. But there are some people who just don't have their video on because they maybe aren't dressed. And some other people have just a picture. Now I see the picture, but that's not the real you, man. I want you moving, smiling, your eyes. I want to see you. Picture is not good enough. All right. I turn it over to Sharad, Lele.
Yes, Leo, you are amazing. Next time we will see everybody's video on.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Leo.
much. And Leo, it was a fantastic session. And I request everybody to log out. And please, Deepak Suvarna, Dr. Sanjay, Sharad and Rashmi, please be there. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.